Picture this. An ordinary evening. Jake, a fervent Roblox player, is deeply engrossed in his game. His fingers dance across the screen of his iPad, eyes glued to the mesmerizing world of Roblox. The day's worries melt away as he navigates through his favorite virtual landscapes. The rest of the world fades into the background. It's just Jake and Roblox. His current obsession, it's a thrilling game called Survive the Jeff the Killer. It's filled with suspense, mystery, and a good dose of adrenaline rush. Jake loves the thrill, the challenge, the constant on-the-edge feeling that keeps him coming back for more. As the night grows darker, the lines between reality and the virtual world blur a little. Jake's eyelids grow heavy, his grip on the iPad loosens. The adrenaline rush of Survive the Jeff the Killer is replaced with the lull of sleepiness. With a yawn, Jake puts his iPad aside, his game still running, and drifts off to sleep. A jolt of consciousness, Jake awakes to find his room bathed in the eerie glow of his iPad. The soft blue light illuminates the room, casting long, ominous shadows that dance and sway with the silent rhythm of the night. Jake's eyes, heavy with sleep, slowly focus on the source of the illumination. His iPad, still on, still awake, still alive with the remnants of the Roblox game he had been playing earlier that evening. With a yawn that echoes the quietness of his surroundings, Jake reaches out, his fingers brushing against the cool glass surface of the device. The game, Survive the Jeff the Killer, still open, still waiting for his next move. He feels a chuckle bubbling up from his chest, a soft sound that breaks the silence like a pebble shattering the surface of a still pond. He dismisses the thought, considering it a trivial oversight. After all, it's just a game, isn't it? He sets the iPad down, nestling it amidst the chaos of his bedsheets, and rolls over in an attempt to reclaim the elusive tendrils of sleep. But something seems off. The silence of the night is broken by the faint hum of the iPad, the soft blue light casting an unnatural glow that seems to make the shadows in the room grow longer, more menacing. It's as if the room itself is holding its breath, anticipating something that Jake can't quite put his finger on. He feels a shiver, unbidden and unwelcome, run down his spine. He pulls the covers up over his head, a futile attempt to block out the unsettling glow of the iPad. He tries to brush off the feeling, blaming it on the late-night gaming and the overactive imagination of a seasoned Roblox player. Yet, despite his best efforts, sleep seems to evade him, replaced by a growing sense of unease. With a shiver running down his spine, Jake falls back into his restless sleep. The room once again is engulfed in an eerie silence, save for the humming of the iPad. The game still open, still waiting, still alive in the darkness. Morning light filters in, and Jake awakens to an unsettling silence. The humdrum of everyday life seems to have hit the pause button. The familiar chirping of the birds outside his window is conspicuously absent. It's as though the world is holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. Jake's eyes flicker to his iPad, lying lifeless on his bedside table. He had left it on overnight, a habit he had been trying to break. He reaches over, pressing the home button, expecting the screen to light up with his favorite Roblox game. But nothing happens. A sense of unease starts to creep in. The screen remains dark, its usual glow replaced by an eerie reflection of his concerned face. He fumbles for his charger, plugging it in, hoping to see the familiar battery symbol, but the screen remains stubbornly blank. It's as if the device has breathed its last, leaving Jake disconnected from his virtual world. The silence seems to grow louder, filling the room with a kind of dread that Jake can't shake off. He looks around his room, every shadow seeming to hide a potential threat. His heart beats faster, the adrenaline pumping through his veins, making him hyper-aware of his surroundings. Then it hits him. He left Survive the Jeff the Killer game on. A wave of panic washes over Jake as he recalls the game he left running. His heart pounds in his chest like a drum, the rhythm growing louder and faster with each passing second. The game, Survive the Jeff the Killer, a Roblox horror classic, was no longer contained within the digital confines of his iPad. Jake's mind races, replaying the chilling details of the game, the eeriness of the abandoned house, the flickering lights, and the haunting whispers that echoed through the empty halls. He remembers the cold dread he felt each time he saw the pixelated face of Jeff the Killer in the game, the menacing smile that sent shivers down his spine. The room seems to close in on him as he realizes that the game, the fear, the terror, it's all too real. He could feel the icy tendrils of fear creeping up his spine, wrapping around his heart in a vice-like grip. The silence of the room is almost deafening, each tick of the clock echoing like a thunderclap in his ears. His breath hitches in his throat as he feels an eerie presence, a feeling of being watched. He can almost hear the faint whispers from the game, growing louder and more distinct. His heart skips a beat, his hands trembling as he turns around, his eyes widening in terror. Suddenly he sees him, Jeff the killer. Jake's heart pounds in his chest as he quickly dives under his bed. The metallic taste of fear clings to his tongue, his breath coming out in short, panicked bursts. His small world is now reduced to the dust bunnies under his bed and the faint, eerie glow from his dead iPad. He's playing a real-life game of hide and seek, but the stakes are much higher than any game he's ever played on Roblox. Jake's mind races, thoughts tumbling over each other. He thinks back to the creepy character from the Survive the Jeff the Killer game, the very same character that now seems to have leapt out from his iPad and into his room. The thought sends a fresh wave of terror coursing through him, causing his heart to beat even faster. He curls himself into a tight ball, trying to make himself as small as possible. The shadows under his bed provide some cover, but will it be enough? He can't help but wonder. Every creak from the house, every rustle from outside amplifies his fear. He squeezes his eyes shut, trying to block out his terror. But all he can see is the face of Jeff the Killer, that horrifying, relentless character from his game. In this dreadful game of hide and seek, silence is his only ally. He holds his breath, trying to quiet the thunderous pounding of his heart. He can almost hear the silence, a deafening void that somehow seems louder than any noise. His small hands clutch the edges of his blanket, knuckles white from the strain. Time seems to have slowed down, each second stretching into an eternity. He can feel the seconds ticking away, his heart pounding in sync with the cruel march of time. Every moment is a battle between his fear and his desperate will to survive. He holds his breath, praying that he won't be found. His heart echoes his silent plea, thumping wildly against his ribcage, as if trying to break free. This is it, the most terrifying game of hide and seek he's ever played. But he has to win. He just has to. The alternative is too horrifying to contemplate.